Hey guys, as I've been more outspoken against the elitism in World of Warships as of late, I'm going to be talking about fear mongering. In this video, I'll be focusing on two fear mongering topics in particular. So, we're going to be focusing on the anti-air mechanics, the new ones that are coming out, what the CVs. There's a lot of talk about that recently with a lot of false information, as well as missiles coming to World of Warships. So, I'll be covering these two topics today. First, let's cover the fear mongering I've been hearing about the anti-air. There's been a lot of misinformation about this new mechanic that's being coming to WoWs and how they're going to be changing the priority sectoring and adding in the concentrated anti-air and how they're removing DFAA. So I wanted to explain the mechanic a little bit more so people could understand and get the actual dynamic and how it works. So overall, what World of Warships is doing is that they're lessening the damage that flak does with DFA overall and making it more of a percentage based damage and more of like a continuous damage, which means that they're not able to dodge that damage. This means that if they're inside of your anti-air, they're going to be taking more raw damage over time rather than just a random RNG bubble of hitting flak or not hitting it with DFA. And this like percentage based damage is more into the new concentrated anti-air mechanic that they're having, where if your anti-air is active for a certain amount of time and it has like right now it has a 130-second time where it won't decrease, it'll stay like that. Essentially, if your anti-air is active at all by ASW, by fighters, by CVs, anything at all, it will raise that bar. And during that time, you can do priority sectoring as well to make your anti-air stronger. But then the concentrated anti-air is now the new built-in DFA per se in the game. And it's a lesser version of the old one. And that's how it works. And what that new concentrated anti-air mechanic does is that it increases the continuous damage as well as doing percentage-based damage to the squadron that it's doing the damage to every 5 seconds. For cruisers, battleships, aircraft carriers, it's 3.5% damage per 5 seconds, and for destroyers, it's 5%. So it doesn't matter if you have really strong anti-air or really weak anti-air, you still do that 5% damage no matter what. This helps create an anti-griefing measure if a CV keeps attacking you over and over again. It helps make it where the CV, it's harder for them to keep coming back, or if they do, they get more readily punished. So ships like the Jaeger or Yamato, where you know damn well the CV is going to keep coming after you, it makes it where you're less likely to get griefed, or if you are, you're going to get more plane kills with it. And a lot of the misinformation I've been hearing about is them like, oh my god, they're removing flak. Like, oh my god, it's gone, dude, it's forever. Oh my god, dude, panic, it's end times, guys, it's over. No, it's perfectly, the game balance is perfectly fine with that. Actually, the CVs are in the best state they've ever been balance wise in the terms of like spotting as well as like anti-air measures. And I'm going to explain a little bit why, because I know people are going to take that out of context. The reason why I'm saying that, now there are things I don't like about CVs. I don't like their special squadrons. That's something that is really unbalanced. I don't like that at all. It makes it really unfair to the other CVs that don't have the special squadrons. So Essex has a very strong advantage over every other CV due to those special squadrons. I think the special squadrons should be limited only to the super ships, as well as the spotting changes. No matter what, no ship can be spotted outside of 10 kilometers by an aircraft carrier, no matter what. And if the aircraft carrier is spotting that said ship with their planes, of course, right? The planes are spotted. So no matter what, if you're spotted by an aircraft, you are able to spot that aircraft. That's huge. That is amazing. It makes it where that, no matter what, you can see what's spotting you from the aircraft. Very important, very important. For the ship to be able to see the aircraft so they can't like do a sneak attack on you. You can see it. So it's very good. They're also making CVs more of a support role, which I really like as well. Adding the team-based consumables, as well as making it where you can place fighters down into you don't have to be on top of the fighter. You can place it at different areas to support your team more. I think it's really good as well. They also made that fighters don't have as much HP so that they're not just lingering in an area or like they're almost impossible to shoot down, right? So I like that as well. And fighters no longer spot either. That's the biggest thing as well. So CVs do not spot as much as they used to, which is why you don't see CVs normally as high up on the leaderboards anymore. Back when they were more likely on top of the leaderboard, but when they removed spotting from fighters, it really lowered the spotting damage they were able to do. It's like, so overall, CVs were hit hard by that change. And I think that what Wargaming needs to do is, with them pushing more of a support playstyle onto CVs, they need to start making it where CVs or other team-based mechanics is rewarded. So for instance, like the new team-based consumables that are being added on that test battleship that's going on right now, as well as on the carriers, right? Like the heal for the British and the fighter fighting for the Japanese and the Germans. That's something that really need to make it where you get based XP for doing that, for supporting your team, to help encourage team-based playstyle, right? Because a lot of this game, this is supposed to be a team-based game, right? But it doesn't really feel like you're rewarded for these team-based mechanics, right? It doesn't really feel like that. And that's what I'm trying to push for really hard is that I'm trying to make it where I'm trying to push for them to add these team-based XP. And their reasoning for not really adding this stuff over time, the team-based mechanics, like getting XP for swing of an ally or replacing a fire, is because like the incentive is if you win, you get more XP, right? But in other games, they still reward the support player while still giving them extra for winning. So I think they just need to find a balance to where it still is inside their mark on what they want to do for support. Because overall, if you're playing more support, you're doing less damage. And if you're doing less damage, you should be rewarded for doing more support. And there should be a balancing act there, right? And if there's not a balancing act and you're being rewarded way more for doing damage and kills, why would you want to support the team? The only thing you'd want to support is your division. And that's where the problem lies. And this isn't just for CVs or with support consumables. This also relies on like team-based like gameplay, like smoking up your allies with a destroyer. As well as the whole spotting damage thing. Spotting damage is something that is rewarded in the game. Now, should it be higher? I know that there has to be like a middle mark for the destroyers to keep them balanced. That's why you have submarines have such a high base XP earnings for spotting damage. It's because they're a feast or famine class, while destroyers are way more flexible on the different type of destroyers that there are. You have gunboats, you have torpedo boats, right? For torpedo boat destroyers, you would want them to earn more base XP, but how their base XP earnings work, it goes off a class. So for instance, submarines earn the most for spotting damage, then right below that is destroyers, right? And for taking potential damage, battleship takes the most, and then cruisers take the most for doing damage, right? And that's how those tables work. And I have a video going out at some point talking about that, but anyway, moving on from there. But yes, so there's a lot of defamation going on with the anti-air mechanics overall. I got a little bit sidetracked, my apologies on that. But yes, I don't like the fact that there's so much fear-mongering going on in the community about the anti-air, when I personally believe that aircraft carriers are they're in a way better state than they were. Like, think about a few years ago, right? You had fighters with spotting, you had squadrons you couldn't spot until they're right on top of you. It was way worse. Right now, aircraft carriers are in a way better state, but they need to encourage team-based XP mechanics where they earn XP for doing team-based gameplay, and that will help push the support role more, because I like playing support, but in this game you don't really get rewarded for that. So why would you want to do that? You don't. You're gonna farm and want to get kills, because that's the best way to earn in this game, is that. Now, and I know that this is a viable option for them, because for arms race you do get XP for grabbing the consumables, or sorry, the bonuses in arms race. So if they can do it there, then they can do it here. So that's where my argument comes in, if they can or cannot. Okay, so moving on from there, let's talk about the missiles. All right, so some of you guys may have already seen what I'm talking about, but there are a lot of misinformation about the missiles. There's a new mode coming out for Legends where it's modern ships. And these modern ships, it's where they only fight each other. It's modern ships. They have missiles and tons of other thing. And there's ship models from like the 2000s. And it's essentially like the modern warship game, but built into Legends. And I think that's super cool that there's a mode and a gameplay only with them in it, right? I think that's super cool, by the way. I think it's amazing, and I'll also be trying it out myself. And the thing is that if that came to World of Warships where it was in its own separate mode, where there was a modern mode, I think that'd be fantastic. But the thing is, if they add it to the base game, then hell no. Hell no. And I don't think they would even do that anyway. And my reasoning for that is that, think about it this way. Imagine if, like, we already have submarines in the game, we already have aircraft carriers. Think about all the mechanics that are around that built in the game. If they added missiles, I don't even know if the engine could handle it. Legends is a completely different game engine as well than World of Warships. So they can't just transfer the model from one game to the other. They can use the model from ships, like they can look at the model and they have to redesign it back on the new engine on Legends, and they have to do the same thing from Legends to ships, where they have to redesign the model onto the other engine, because both engines are different. One engine's like 24 or something years old, and the other engine's way newer. That's why on Legends, their aircraft carriers have mini-map spotting, while regular World of Warships does not have mini-map spotting. And that's something too that I've talked about in the past, or try to explain, that Lesta, who are the original developers of World of Warships, they tried to do mini-map spotting for their engine. And their engine is the same as our engine. And they tried it, and they were not able to make it where mods could not add back the spotting for the CVs. It was like for the non-minimap spotting, right? Or make it where, like, let's just say the modders ruined it. They were able to break the system that they were trying to fix. So if the Lesta can't make a system that works for minimap spotting, then we're not going to be able to do it for the regular game with our engine, because it's essentially the same engine. Whenever World of Warships does get another engine, like a new engine, like they're revamped, then mini-map spotting would be able to become a viable option. Because with such an old engine, there's only so much that they're going to be able to do with the game, and that's understandable with how old the engine is. When they get a new engine, then there's way more options for them to do, and I'm super excited for if they ever do get a new engine, because we have no idea, but it'd be super cool if they do. So super excited about that. But no, missiles are not coming to World of Warships PC as of now. We have no idea about that. But there's been so much misinformation and fear-mongering going on that I had to make a video about and talk about it, because I really hate seeing people doing that. It's really annoying. And the thing is that me as a CC, I feel like I need to call out the action. I know why they're doing it. They're doing it for money. They're doing it for whatever else. And because, yeah, if a video makes over like 10,000 views or 10,000 views, that's like 80 something dollars, right? With whatever worth it is right now for World of Warships viewership for YouTube. And so if their video gets 20,000, 30,000, just think about it that way. $20,000 views is like $160. 30,000, $240. And it just goes up and up and up and up and up. And because World of Warship viewership number-wise for money or ad revenue is way higher than a lot of other games, because let's just face it, World of Warships players do spend a lot of money. So a lot of advertisers want to, get in on that money per se. So that's the reasoning why. And I really don't like that. I can understand they have to make a living and such like that, but I don't mind if they do like more of like the hateful stuff or whatever. Like, yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is, right? But the misinformation is really uncalled for, especially from people that I know that they're very well educated in the game, and they still do it anyway, is very disappointing to see. And I personally hate it very much, because as CCs, like as myself as a CC, we're allowed to give whatever opinion we want on something. We can talk about as openly if we like something or we don't. We just can't, let's just say, be a dick, like super toxic, right? So people say all the time, or they try to make arguments that CCs can't say what they want, or they can't do whatever, right? If you look at my past videos criticizing and talking about things that Wargaming has done or anything has done in the past, like, I don't get in trouble for it, because it's a constructive criticism. I'm not just lashing out. I'm giving a thesis, I'm talking about a problem, and I'm providing a solution to that problem, or I'm talking about it. I'm not just being an asshole, right? And that's also, we have good news, by the way. So I don't know if you guys have seen, but if you guys have seen my video on the recent like elitism, as well as the ping indicator videos, we have news, good news actually, that internally they are starting to push for for them to start putting way more information about the indicators in game. So us as a community are seeing that they are responding in kind because of we're not being toxic with our feedback, we're being constructive. So I want you guys to know that if you're watching this video and you've watched it to this long, that you're helping me push this information out, spreading the word, and we're doing it in a non-toxic way. We're giving constructive criticism that they can see the community on large. It's like opening their eyes to things, right? And it's really helping the game. And it does make me very proud that my community and most of the WoW's community are being very open and like positive about the ping indicator, the elitism video, me talking about this and being more open about it. It makes me very happy to see that Wargaming is also receiving this really well. It means that we are able to help push or help the game do better, make it more friendly. We can change the staleness of what's been going on with content creation in this game, and it helps show that CCs can make a difference in the game, because it's been so stereotyped and put that us CCs can't do anything and that our opinions don't matter. When they do, you have to do it in a constructive and positive way. You can't just bitch and complain about something or vent about something. Like, you have to push, you have to work for it. Like, it doesn't mean that everything that I do is going to get listened by World of Warships, right? But I'm showing an initiative. We are, as a community, we are pushing for them to help newer players or people that don't understand mechanics get the in-game information they need. I'm also pushing for a lot of my videos that I'm doing for the new How It Works series we put on Wiki. And if they aren't, and they'll tell me why it's not, or if I'm not giving something accurate enough, they'll tell me what I put on wrong. I'll work on the video to make it more accurate, and then they'll put up on the Wiki at some point, which I'm pushing for really hard because I'm wanting to really help the game out. Like, I really enjoy World of Warships. I've been playing this game for a really long time, and like I said in the elitism video, I've been so blinded by playing this game for so long that I didn't realize just how bad the game was from a new player perspective. I couldn't think like that. I just didn't see it until I forced myself, and it took me forever to be able to, but I finally was able to see just how the game was for a beginner. And now I'm just doing everything I can to help the game thrive. I want to make the game more welcoming. I know that sometimes I may fall and do a bad job, but I'm doing my best to be better. But yeah, I want to thank you guys all for your time. I didn't mean to make this video a little bit longer. I was going to try making it like 12 minutes or 8 minutes, but we went on about 20 minutes. So if you guys have any questions or anything, or want to leave a comment, a like, make sure to subscribe as well. I'll be working on those How It Works series from now on and doing my best to give as most accurate information I can on the mechanics I'm talking about. I have so many topics I want to talk about too that World of Warships really doesn't cover either, like spawning, how divisions affect spawns, how that works. That's something that would really help a lot of players to understand, like how divisions can affect spawns that can make or break matches as well. So I'll be going over those in the future as well. There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about, so I'm super excited. But yep, I'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.